What's good, y'all? Tommy Buckets back with another Elden Ring challenge run. Now the last one was a little bit too easy, so I'm going to make this one much harder. In this video, I'm going to beat the main story of Elden Ring only using the basic torch that you get in Limgrave. I'm not going to use any summons, buffs, or talismans. I'm talking torch and only torch, and we're going to try and beat the game. Now the only thing that I am going to do is upgrade the torch at the round table hold, but trust me, it's barely going to increase the damage at all. First things first, rest in peace Uncle Phil, and then we gotta grab our weapon, which is as close as possible to spawn, and we buy it for 500 schmeckles from our boy here at the church. Now that we have our weapon, and because we aren't using talismans, there's not much more to do, so we beeline it straight to Margit to chop it up with him one time. This man ain't extinguishing shit. This fight isn't too much of a challenge, and we use the good old-fashioned strategy of baiting out his big swings and jumping attacks. I have enough time to generally get 3 light attacks after one of his big moves, and a new move I found that I can take advantage of is after he throws a sword and then swings. If you strafe to the left, he won't follow up, and you're safe to attack, which is kinda cool because I haven't done that before. I was doing pretty well, but I was losing patience because each of my attacks only do like 40 damage, and I ended up running out of flasks and had him low, and I almost sold the fuck out of this run, but we clutch up and manage to kill Big Dog and get up to Stormvale Castle. With my confidence high, we run straight for Godric and get smacked straight in our face by his opening move. That's always fun. But after recollecting myself, we stay patient and punish his big swings, and due to the torch's high posture damage, we manage to stagger Big Bro, even though we can't do riposte, but we do still get some easy damage there, and phase 1 is basically barbecue chicken. Phase 2 though, I don't know what was going on, but I just couldn't seem to dodge his fire attacks. At one point I just botted out and just ran straight into his fire, and was left with a ball hair's amount of health. I stayed patient and cautious, and managed to get a stagger late, which I thought was about to end the fight, but he tried to sneak me on his last breath, and I barely dodged it, waited out the end of his combo, jumped in, and finished this old man off. Now that we have access to Liurnia, we can upgrade our torch a little bit, so I go ahead to Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel to defeat the Crystallian boss for the Smithing Stone Bell Bearing 1. This allows us to upgrade our torch to +6, and even though that only increases the damage by around like 50, it is still better, I guess. With our newly upgraded torch, we can challenge the big bad Vallana. Phase 1 is as simple as ever. We knock her down 3 times, boom boom boom, take her out. Phase 2 is where the real fight starts, and we just keep pressing the attack in the beginning, and I try to press her as much as possible to try to get her to stop spamming spells, and that takes her to about half health. This is when she's going to start using summons, and I have to stay patient and wait for most of her summons to despawn, because there's just no way I could take them out with a torch. I mainly go for jumping attacks when she goes to summon again or try to do a spell, and when the summons are despawned, I stay as close as possible to her to try to get her to keep using spells. After running around and dodging a few more attacks, we're able to take her out and kill our second Remembrance boss for the run. Now we want to go to Altus where we can get the second bell bearing to upgrade our torch a little bit more, but first we gotta settle the score with Magmorn. I got nothing much to say about this man, he's lowly as fuck, and I got absolutely no respect for his game. Couple stance breaks later, and he falls on his face, we take him out, and we get into Altus Plateau. Once we rest at a site of grace in Altus Plateau, the Radahn Festival starts, which is what we're looking for because we got a knuckle sandwich with Radahn's name on it. While we're here, we go to the sealed tunnel where we can grab the second Smithing Stone Bell Bearing and upgrade our torch to +12. Buckle up, it's time for the first hard boss, and it's the familiar face Radahn. Overall, I'm doing decent damage to him, and I'm primarily focusing on using charged R2s. One reason for this is because it does the most damage for a single hit, but the main reason is that it does a lot of poise damage. Doing around 4 in quick succession would normally break his stance and allow me to get a bunch of damage in free of charge. I only managed to get this once in the first phase, but I found a couple of easy ways to get damage. One is when he's using his gravity AoE spell, you can dodge behind him during it and beat the shit out of his horse because it's outside of the range. Besides that, I found spots that I could strafe to and attack during his attacks where I wouldn't be hit, and bada bing bada boom, he jumped up to space to kick off phase 2. For phase 2, I tried to press up on him as much as possible to make him use his normal combos and swings. I could get a good amount of damage on him while he was doing this, and when he would run away to start all that hoopla with spells, meteors and shit, I'd just hop on my horse, run away, and then double jump over his final smash. I was doing well and feeling really confident that I got hit in the back of my head by his swords and almost pissed myself. But after calming down, I got a stance break, wailed on him a couple of more times, rolled into him, and finally finished him off. It's time for the Royal Capital, but first we have to tango with its guard dog. Not much to say about this guy either. It's easy to break his stance, and we can get him in a rhythm of heavy attacks to break his stance over and over again. Besides that, it's just a matter of baiting out a couple of his shield attacks, get struck by lightning close to the end, and bada bing bada boom, we're off for the throne. Waiting at the throne is Mr. Scaring the Hose Away. I hate this fight because this motherfucker is always doing too much. Like, why are you swinging 10 times in a row, bro? Take a breath. Hey. Anyway, for the first phase, I just wait for him to do one of his big swings and jump in to do a little bit of damage. Then I managed to get a lucky stance break right before he was about to unload a hammer at my face. Besides that though, the strategy is to just rinse and repeat that over and over again while occasionally jumping in to get in one little attack. After being patient enough, phase 2 starts and I try to sneak in and get a hit while he's transitioning, and I get rocked from a poison geyser, wherever the fuck that is, and immediately back the fuck up. For the rest of phase 2, I just run around until he does one of 3 moves. The first is where he does his uppercut grab attack. Second is the 2-3-60, which is the same move as the first time you fight him in Limgrave. And the last move is where he jumps up in the air and slams his 4 swords on the ground. After dodging one of those 3 moves, you always have enough time to get a swing in and get out. So I pulled the Floyd Mayweather strategy and just hit and ran for 15 minutes, and eventually this ugly ass Omen died. Now that we're in the mountaintops, we hit up the Zamor ruins, or Zamor, however the fuck you say that, to get the Smithing Stone Bell Bearing 3, so we can upgrade our torch to plus 18 and go straight to the next boss, the Fire Giant. Alright, fuck this guy, okay? I fought this motherfucker for 2 days straight and kept getting oh so close to victory just to get sit on by this fat piece of shit over and over again. The time that I managed to kill him, the fight lasted 20 minutes long, and let me tell you, there is no worse feeling than fighting someone for 15 minutes flawlessly and then getting one shot from this guy rolling on you. Alright, let me calm down. So the first phase is relatively easy because the torch does a good amount of damage and he tends to just keep trying to stomp on you in the beginning rather than rolling away, and you can keep smacking away at his gross ass toes. I managed to get a couple of staggers in the first phase because we can keep hitting him with charged R2s, which gets us to phase 2 without too much issue. In the beginning of phase 2, he always puts his hands down at the same spot, and I can get 3 hits in and do a decent amount of damage before running away from all the fire. This man has so much health and my attacks are basically tickling him in phase 2. But the real annoying part is that every time you run up on him, he rolls away. This means that I have to close the distance while avoiding his fireballs and slams to get 1, maybe 2 hits in if I'm lucky, and then be ready to dodge just in case he decides to roll his fat ass right in my direction, and then do that over and over and over again for 15 minutes. This shit was so mentally exhausting, and I can officially say, fuck the fire giant, and after 2 days of attempts, I finally managed to beat him, and I'm able to continue this god-forsaken run. After finally breaking through that brick wall that I was stuck on, I am immediately met with another in the Godskin duo. I'm gonna be honest, I tried for a while to fight these boys, and I saw no progress in the hours of attempts that I was doing. So I made a decision. Alright, before you start booing, hold on, let me explain. So because they are not a remembrance boss, and because it's a 2v1, and because that shit is just plain annoying, I'm going to allow myself to use one other torch for only this fight. So we put a pin in that for now and head over to Castle Sol to fight Commander Neil, because the torch we want is located in the concentrated snowfields. This fight is simple once you beat his 2 goons, and even though we don't do much damage, we just keep dodging his 2 big moves, get 1 attack in, dodge away, and repeat. Eventually we kill him and get half of the medallion, and the other half is located in Liurnia, which we can just pick up, and then once we are in the concentrated snowfields, we can simply scoop our weapon from this chest. This torch that we just got has a nice sleep effect to it, which is very useful for this bullshit 2v1 fight. One thing about this torch that we need to know is that each time one of the enemies gets hit by the sleep proc, their resistance goes up, so it's going to take more hits to get that proc on them again. So towards the end, it's going to be really hard to try to put one of them to sleep. So, in the beginning, the strategy is simple. I put the big guy to sleep and start fighting the skinny dude 1v1 until I can put him to sleep. Now, I want to kill Fatso before his friend wakes back up, so I play super aggressive to try to break his stance or put him to sleep. I'm able to tee off on Big Boy and get him in a cycle of falling asleep and breaking his stance over and over, and was almost able to kill him before he could even transition into his second phase. I got a lucky sleep and was able to finish him off, so I started beating the shit out of the skinny man, but unfortunately I was able to do too much damage before he transitioned to his second phase and spawned his boy back. Once we kill him though, it's time to run once with the fatty once again, and boy, I was doing something serious to this man. I wasn't even giving him a chance to fight back. I was about to kill him before he even had a chance to go into his second phase, but his bitch ass boy came out of nowhere, hit me with a clean RKO out of the sky, which scared the shit out of me. Because he was almost dead though, we wait out his rolling move, get him with a jumping attack, and because he's much easier to fight than the skinny guy when there's 2 of them, I just let him get respawned one more time, finish him off with a couple of more attacks, and boom, we finally beat the Godskin duo. With the Godskin duo dead, we get the final Smithing Stone Bell Bearing, which lets us upgrade our torch to plus 24, which is basically maxed out, and we waltz on in to fight Malekith. This fight is a nice break from the bullshit from the last 2 bosses that we fought, and the first phase isn't too challenging. I just used the tried and true strategy of punishing 3 of his moves. The first is his ground slash that he kind of throws at you if you're at a distance, his bring it around town slash that he does, and finally when he pulls up a boulder from the ground and throws it at you. Staying patient and attacking after those 3 moves lets me get to Malekith with relative ease. I took my armor off for this fight because for whatever reason, I am so ass at dodging Malekith's attacks with a medium roll. Alright, anyway, back to the fight. We start off by staying close and dodging his normal swing while getting a couple of hits in, and one charged swing at the end manages to stagger. After that, I dodge his combos, able to stagger him again, and by staying close, I'm able to get him to swing around twice and follow it up with a normal swing, which I can take advantage of and get my final stagger of the fight, and I can put down Airbud for good. This was really nice after struggling so much on the Godskin duo with Fire Giant. I'm finally feeling like LeBron listening to T Grizzly. Boom, 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 boom! And now there's only 2 more bosses left, so let's get to it.
I knew you'd come to stand before the Elden Ring, to become Elden Lord.
And shut the fuck up, Gideon. Alright, Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. First phase, I love to hit him with a jumping attack when he tries to pull a fast one with his ground smash attack, and he has openings in between his long axe swing that allow you to get some hits in. Jumping attacks do a lot of posture damage, so throughout this fight, we get a couple of stance breaks and our torch is doing a decent amount of damage on him, so we're able to get through the first phase by repeating this simple pattern of jumping attacks and punishing after his combo. For the second phase, we start off by getting the free hit, but I got greedy and tried to get a sneaky little second swing in there, which he did not let me get away with, and he ended up hitting me with his big AoE attack. So I started off scrambling, and while I was getting up, he charged in with his big grab attack, and I tried healing through it, but he was not going for that. Finally though, I settled down, and I mainly just waited for him to do his slow charge attack at me, because that gave me enough time to get a hit in without taking damage. I found that he normally does that move after he does his big ground AoE attack, so I waited a while for him to pull those moves out so I could effectively get some damage off. I got hit a lot during this phase, but I kept just running and healing, and eventually I traded enough blows with him and took him down. Now there's just one boss left between us and glory. The beginning of the Radagon fight is always the same, and we can get a few hits in while he's aura farming. And then, a couple of hits later, we get a stack. After that, it's just waiting for his combos to end and getting a charged R2 attack, rinse and repeat, and next thing we know, he's at half health and starts teleporting. We managed to get a stagger right after his triple holy smash move that he does when he's around half health. Because I was doing so well this run, I got incredibly greedy and felt invincible, and just kept attacking, and then Radagon slapped the fuck out of me and left me with like 2 inches left of health, which is all you really need to be honest, and anything more than that is just obnoxious. After dodging a few more of his attacks flawlessly, we kill him and head into the final fight. It's time to tango with the beast, and same with Radagon, the beginning is always the same, so we can get a bunch of hits to lower his posture early, and hopefully he doesn't keep running away so that we can get a stagger early on too. Luckily this run, he started with his 3 swing combo, which is easily avoidable, and we get him the stagger and we can give him a good talking to and deal a lot of damage. This attack that he does, I kept dying to, and I never really got the timing of it down, so I honestly was just panic rolling here, and it ended up working out, so fuck it. After getting another stance break on him, he pulls out his classic Elden Stars move, which is annoying as fuck, so I just hop on my horse and get the fuck out of there. When you're on your horse, he loves to spam moves, especially his projectile sword, so you gotta be careful, and I try to get off the horse as soon as possible. Once the Elder Stars spell goes away, we pull up on him again and almost die to his flying move, but we persevere and run at him again, only to almost die to the same exact move. Somehow we survive and dodge his final normal combo and end up finishing the beast off. Boom! We just beat Elden Ring only using the basic torch for the most part, and didn't use any talismans at all. If anyone's still watching, let me know down in the comments below if you liked the video, if you didn't like it, anything you think I can improve on, how to make the videos better. I would greatly appreciate your feedback. I'm planning on doing a bunch of runs soon, so stay tuned to that. Other than that, peace out.